Woljif build for unfair difficulty. Eltritch Scoundrel with the biggest amount of spells that can be played in tons of different ways. I'm gonna cover one build for Woljif here. You're not wrong if you decide to go with something else, cause variety of what you can do with Woljif is absolutely huge. So let's go. Here you can check the stats for Woljif. His attack is solid, armor class is solid, reflex, fortitude, will, or also very solid. Numbers are not that great for unfair, but he makes it all up with extremely good spells on the way. Not only that he makes it up with spells, he also makes it up with skills. Skill variety, okay, because Eltritch Scoundrel, rogue, yeah. So what's most important? Trickery, perception, stealth, mobility, use magic device, and knowledge arcana for Woljif. The most important being absolutely stealth and trickery. Now let's go to the inventory. Let's see what items Woljif can use. For helmet early on, everything that gives intelligence, Woljif will profit out of it. Of course, later on, headband of subjugator is a must. For amulet of deep roots, I find him the best on Woljif. Before that, just ramp up armor class from +1 to 3, 4, 5 and onwards. For goggles of piercing gaze are very nice on Woljif. Woljif guide for unfair difficulty. Woljif is a Eltritch Scoundrel, so that means we have a rogue with sneak attack damage with freaking amazing amount of spells. So that also means that you can play Woljif in a lot of different ways. I'm gonna cover one build for Woljif here. You're not wrong if you decide to play with something else. So let's go. Here you can check stats for Woljif. As you can see, attack is absolutely great. Armor class is very solid, fortitude, reflex, and will is also solid. Okay, none of these numbers are huge for unfair difficulty, especially for late game, but his spells recover most of the things that you'll need along the way, and enemies will tend to miss Woljif a lot. So he is also extremely good at tanking, especially during Act 1 and 2. For skills, every rogue has huge skills variety. Eltritch Scoundrel is not different, of course. We need stealth, perception, mobility, trickery, use magic device, and knowledge arcana. The most important one would be stealth and trickery, and then ramp up everything else. Woljif items and what you can use on him. Early on, for a helmet, you can use everything that basically gives intelligence +2, 4, 6. Later on, it should be headband of subjugator. For amulet of deep root is absolutely great in late game. Before that, armor class +1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what you'll need. For armor, Haramakis are very good on Woljif. Soulless Command is a late game Haramaki. Before that, use weaker Haramakis. You can also use light armor, adamantine or mitral with solid passive abilities if you don't want to play with Haramaki, but be careful about arcane spell failure. For goggles of piercing gaze are absolutely the best ones on Woljif. For cloak, classic from +1 to 3, 4, 5, 6 as you progress. For under armor, or better to say for a robe, we go with anything that's gonna boost saving throws. For the first ring, I decided to go with a ring of luck. For the second ring, it's a ring of protection. Now, make sure of one thing. There are a lot of good rings for Woljif, okay? You're not wrong if you go with plenty of them over here. Just, for example, you can go with Ring of Summoning easily also. The entire party will profit out of it. He will profit out of it. Just decide what you want, alright? Do you want armor? Do you want damage? Do you want attack? I opted in for armor class. For bracers of abrupt onslaught, very simple, they boost sneak attack damage, Woljif deals sneak attack. For belt, perfection, alright, early on it's dexterity and constitution, after that it's just physical perfection, +2, 4, +6, that's about it. For gloves, again, if you can find gloves that will enhance sneak attack as well as bracers, you are very good to go. For boots that give freedom of movement are absolutely great on Woljif, especially if you have this one for movement speed also. Now weapons, okay, you can play Woljif with short swords, with daggers, with kukris, decide what you wanna play with. I built this Woljif with short swords. On my previous run I was playing with daggers. Alright, but I placed both daggers and short swords to see what is gonna end up in late game, okay. One of the most powerful items mid-game is a short sword that completely bypasses damage reduction, by the way. I think you get it on Act 3 or something, and it's valid all the way till Act 6. Now, these are late game short swords, Unexpected Resolution, and Void's Kiss. Alright, those two. If you opt in for short sword, if you opt in for daggers, there's a lot of good daggers, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot, at least 20 good daggers along the game, alright? From +1 to +5. I have Scorpion Sting here and a little Conductor. Pick what weapon you wanna play with. This is the build for a short sword. Woljif's Mythic Path. The first one is a no-brain. Less stand, of course. The second one would be 2-weapon fighting Mythic. The third one would be Abundant Casting. The fourth one would be Improved Critical with a short sword. If you play with kukris, it's kukri. If you play with daggers, it's daggers. And so if you play with sickles, it's sickles. Okay, pick what you like. The fifth one is Thundering Blows, because he'll hit even when he misses. The sixth one is Mythic Sneak Attacker. The seventh one is Ruptured Restraints. The eighth one is Weapon Focus Mythic on a short sword or a dagger or a kukri. The ninth one is Improved Abundant Casting, and the last one would be Flawless Attacks. Classic leveling now. We stick all the way till the end with Eltritch Scoundrel. Okay, there are plentiful ways to play Woljif, as I said. If you opt in for a mage, everything changes. Alright, mage, Eltritch Scoundrel, everything changes. Then you focus spells. And the entire skills over here, all of these feats are different. This is a melee buffer Woljif. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna grab is a 2-weapon fighting. The next thing would be double slice. After that it's of course accomplished sneak attacker. After that it's armor proficiency light. After that it's improved 2-weapon fighting. After that it's improved critical with a short sword. After that it's hammer the gap. After that it's a blind fight. After blind fight it's a greater 2-weapon fighting. And at the end we have improved blind fight. From weapons I picked daggers, short swords and kukris. Woljif receives evasion, Woljif receives debilitating injury, and he also receives advanced talents on level 10, I think, yeah, level 10. From rogue talents, we're gonna pick weakening wound, weapon focus on a short sword, critical focus, slippery mind for some defense, and greater blind fight. Now, because I was playing Aeon, I didn't need team feats for Woljif, but if you play with some other character as a main, you won't have team feats, which means now we need to give Woljif some team feats. And what's important on Woljif is seize the moment, shake it off, precise strike, and outflank. We need to change 4 feats and place those 4 team feats for Woljif to be good. The first one we can change is armor proficiency light armor for shake it off. Now you can decide if you want to switch Hammer the Gap or Blind Fight. If you switch Blind Fight, that's exactly 3 more left for those 3. Okay, Blind Fight, Improved Blind into Greater Blind Fight. And we need Shake It Off, Precise Strikes, Outflank, and Seize the Moment. If not, then we're gonna switch Hammer the Gap for something out of those 4. So basically what you can switch is this one, this, and this. Pick what you like to switch and when you like to switch, and just add these 4 team feats and you're good to go. You can check advanced stats over here for Woljif. Now I'll pass through abilities, pause when you want, and let's go. Now we transfer to Woljif Spellbook. First, the cantrips. They're not that important, to be honest, so we can easily skip them. You probably use Ray of Frost, but I doubt, to be honest, you're gonna use melee attacks. Now, from level 1, as you can see here, there's a ton of magic missiles, a bit of grease, mage armor, and sleep. That all changes along the way, okay? This is only useful during Act 1 and Act 2, especially grease. Especially that one. Place it on doors and see enemies down on the floor. Second level in Woljif Spellbook is when Woljif becomes the best tank in the game during Act 1 and 2, and there is no better. Why? Because of his mirror image and blur combination, okay? As well as with displacement from Nenio, he literally can't get hit, okay? And on top of that, he has range damage with Bone Shaker, as well as complete crowd control on the entire screen, basically, with web. So, Woljif is at its best once you receive Spellbook level 2. Level 3, everything that you see here, Blink, Displacement, Haste, Heroism, Protection from Arrows Communal, See Invisibility Communal, all of those will carry you through Act 2. Each of these spells is equally important. Now we go to the Woljif's mid-late game. Okay, first we're gonna need Animate Death, Bone Shatter, and Greater Invisibility, alright? If you don't have anyone with a Stone Skin in your team, then you need to learn Stone Skin on Woljif, alright? But the most important one is to distract enemies with Animate Death. You can spam the living shit out of it and control the field with like taking out from 4 to 6 skeletons, 5-6 spells. That will be from 20 to 30 skeletons on a map. It's quite good. Level 5 is when Woljif stops playing like a bitch and becomes a man. And that's because of the angelic aspect, because of Beast Shape, because of Stone Skin Communal, and because of Vampiric Shadow Shield. Once you apply all of those buffs on Woljif, he becomes completely insane around level, I think that's level 10 or so. It doesn't matter, to be honest, but once you see level 5 Spellbook, that's when Woljif becomes really useful. On level 6, he also becomes very useful if you decide to play with Woljif instead of Nenio, but that's his end. He doesn't have 7, 8, and 9, because now he's a melee with tons of AoE buffs for the entire team, including all of Mess attribute scaling buffs, as well as Heroism Greater. That Create Undead is there just for the distraction. How do we play Woljif? Mega late game, Woljif with his Master Strike has the ability to one-shot enemies when he deals sneak attack damage. Literally one-shot. 2000 HP on an enemy, unfair, he can one-shot. Simple as that. Now, as far as early game goes, I said what you do. You cast magic missiles, you go 3rd or 4th into a fight for a sneak attack damage, and you cast grease to trip enemies. Also, during early game, once you receive mirror image and blur, you're gonna apply both and you're gonna tank everything with Woljif. Not to mention when you also apply displacement and heroism on him, as well as haste for the entire party. That's where basically Woljif is the most useful in the game during first 2 acts. You also gonna need protection from arrows communal, of course, during Act 2. During Act 4, he becomes a melee distraction with a lot of summons. During this part of the game, he becomes self-buffer, and during his late game, he will become AoE buffer. Of course, there's a lot of different ways to play Woljif, okay? You can play Woljif as a damage dealer. Alright, you can play Woljif as a classic melee buffer, like I presented it here. You can play Woljif as ranged also. Eltritch Scoundrel can be played in a lot of different ways, alright? But I believe that this is the best and most fun way, because it offers spells, a lot of good spells, a lot of AoE buffs, a lot of self buffs, and of course it offers that in your face crazy crits with sneak attack.